Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on when you watch this. For those of you who are watching this, I'm assuming you are reading the letter attached and you know what this is about. It's about me being molested as a child. The reason I am choosing to speak about this now is because I just had one of the most profound experiences of my entire life. And I wanted to share not only that experience, but my intention is to help others that have been in my situation before. People that have never had a voice, that have always lived in fear, that struggle through their daily life because of things like molestation, rape, sexual abuse, and they haven't had the opportunities that I have to discover personal development or books, finding mentors, and now for me, sitting in ayahuasca ceremonies. So my intention for this is to inspire others to speak out, to reach out for help. You could reach out to me anytime, and to help heal people from the trauma that is sexual abuse. Being molested as a kid really caused me a lot of damage in my life, not only as a kid, as a teenager, as a young adult, and into me being a man. It poisoned relationships with women, the way that I looked at women, the way that I treated women, my friendships, my family relationships, my business relationships. There are 4 parts to a human, in my opinion: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. All 4 of those aspects make up you as a human being. And suffering a traumatic event like that really disrupts all 4 levels of your being. And this is something I've been studying for a really long time. Actually, my very first major in college was psychology. And because I wanted to figure myself out. I knew there was something wrong with me, right? Not wrong in the sense I'm bad, but wrong as in I'm not functioning in the healthiest way that I can be. There's a lot of dysfunction inside of me, the way that I think, the way that I interpret situations, the way that I communicate, the way that I interact. I knew that there was dysfunction. And if you're a person who's been through this situation or these situations, you know what I'm talking about. So I'm putting together these courses next year, and sexual abuse and root chakra healing is going to be one of those courses, because after this weekend I have a moral responsibility to help others that have been in my situation and that haven't made it out on the other side okay, or are still struggling on the inside and on the outside, and to fucking stop people from molesting or raping people or selling kids into fucking human trafficking. Like, my number one intention is the more that we can create awareness and speak out, the more that these people are held accountable for the actions, the more that it will stop, and the more that I can help prevent these things from happening. So about a year and a half ago, I found my way into ayahuasca ceremonies. And my very first intention that I ever sat down with was, I want root chakra healing. And I'm going to put up a picture of root chakra and a couple things that what the root chakra is. And though you might not believe in chakras, I'm telling you right now that it is real. And you can break that down from a brain standpoint. If you're someone who needs hard data and scientific research, just go study PTSD, sexual abuse, and what it does to the brain, and you'll start to see that the parts of the brain that are affected by a situation as intense as sexual abuse, what it actually does to your body physiologically, what happens to you emotionally, physically, mentally, which all bleeds into your spirituality. So I'm gonna put up some pictures right now, and I want you to look at these things. And I experienced this firsthand, not only my very first ceremony that I sat in, but this last weekend. And it was so undeniably undeniably profound, which is why I needed to share this. So my very first intention going into ayahuasca ceremony, heal my root chakra. All night long, I could feel nothing but energy in my root chakra. It was very uncomfortable. It started to show me all of my addictions. It started to show me all of the things that I have done to hurt people, to hurt myself. Like, it was just a night of intense discomfort, all in the root chakra. But it was the best night of my life, because it showed me things that I've never, ever understood spiritually. I always knew them physically, mentally, and emotionally, but I never understood them on a spiritual level until that first night. So I come out of ceremony that first time a year and a half ago, like, I'm healed. I healed my root chakra. Like, I feel so relieved. Like, I feel so grateful. Fast forward to this past weekend, and now I'm comfortable sitting in ceremonies. I've done different intentions. I've had some amazing breakthroughs, like just crazy transformation in my life, on top of all the personal development work that I've been doing. Never has this issue came up again. Has other issues around my molestation happened in ceremonies? Yes. Things have happened around that, yes, but never again like root chakra in the way that the first night and this last weekend. So I've been dieting these plants: saguaro, pinyon blanco, holy basil, tobacco, for the past, I would say, 9, maybe 10 weeks, on and off of these different plant diets. I'm not going to get too in depth with what that entails, but if you'd like information, I'm happy to share. So the second weekend, first night, sitting on my mat, and a vision comes. I start to feel my root chakra again. I start to feel it really part of my lower back. I start to feel it, you know, in my man parts, and it's like a very intense discomfort, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I can't sit still, and it shows my hand like this, and it says, your root chakra has been healed, but it's still open. So with an open hand, I can place anything that I want in it. Even after I wash my hand, I can put in something amazing. I could put in something awesome. I could also put in a bunch of bullshit, negativity, toxic, disgusting, vile things can still be placed in my open hand, right? So it was showing me this, and it says in the madre, right? That's what ayahuasca is referred to, the madre, says to me, you've healed, but you haven't connected. And it showed my other hand on top of my hand like this, and it closed. And it said, healing and connection go hand in hand. You cannot have one without the other. If you're connecting, you're healing. And if you're healing, you must connect. And then my hand shifted like this, and it said, you are now connected to your root chakra. And it showed my hands opening and closing, meaning I choose now what I can put in and out of my root chakra, right? What energies are feeding into that. So it was like just showing me this vision of now I am connected, which is why I'm feeling my root chakra in a way that I've never felt it before, because I've been so disconnected from it. So that was night 1. I'm giving you a fast version of this. Night 2, second drink, just laying down on my mat, and a vision shows up, and it's showing me all of the plants that I've been dieting set me up, line me up, and start to work in my body. And again, I feel an intense burning in my root chakra. And this last plant I've been dieting is holy basil. And if you don't know what holy basil is, Google holy basil and Jesus Christ. Just Google that. You're going to be blown away by this. So I asked the madre, I said, what is, after she showed me saguaro, after she showed me pinyon blanco, after she showed me tobacco, what all these plants were doing for my body, I said, what is holy basil supposed to do for me? And I hold out my hand, and I close it. And inside I have holy basil. and I take the holy basil and I place it on my root chakra, and I feel this grow inside of me. And as clear as day, I hear, your root chakra is now healed and connected. This is now your new root. Holy basil is now your new root. And I just, in my body, just feel this connected in a way that I've never felt before. And that's when it said, you now have a moral responsibility to help others. And she started to show me people that have suffered from the same things that I have. Now, it started to show me why people can't sit still and they can't focus, and ADHD and fear. It started showing me all of these. Some people I know, some people I don't know. And I'm going to backtrack just a little bit, because I remember I've told very few people in my life this, and one person I have told is my amazing friend Marlo. And one of the things she's always kind of talked to me about is being overly sexualized, right? A lot of people that have experienced this become really overly sexualized, or some people completely shut down their sexuality completely. Just, it's not existent anymore. Anyways, Marlo is a very amazing person. She's always talking about how the world at large is overly sexualized with porn and music videos and music and magazine covers, and now social media is just constantly being fed this over-sexualization to who you are as a human being. Physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, right? Again, if you're a person that needs all these scientific results, go and research this stuff and what it does to your brain, what pornography does to the brain, what overly sexual images does to your brain, how it affects the amygdala, which affects your prefrontal cortex, which shuts down all different parts of your consciousness. Like, it's so fascinating to read this stuff. So Marlo has been, aware and kind of hints at that, right? Now, I'm not trying to pass moral judgment, right? Because again, I've been down this road of lust and desire and never being able to satisfy, I guess, my these cravings, these lust thoughts that I have, right? Like, I know what that's like. So for me, it's not passing moral judgment on others, but what I'm saying is that I've been in that situation. I know the kind of damage and things it can cause, both, again, in relationships, friendships, family, work, all of it, right? It's all connected. So in this vision, back to my ayahuasca ceremony, in this vision, it's showing me all the people that have root chakra issues and how they can't sit still and they can't focus. And then it starts playing me out the world at large, and how everything is becoming very hyper sexualized. Again, the things that we watch, the things that we listen to, the way that we dress, the way that we talk, right? All of it. And it's showing how it's disrupting everyone's root chakra, which is why we have such a disconnect, why we can't focus, why we can't sit still. There's a doctor, I forget his name, but I'll never forget the quote, because he wrote a book about ADHD, and he says ADHD doesn't exist. What it is the person has an intense fear of the present moment. An intense fear of the present moment. And this quote was showing me, while all these other visions were happening to me, of that when you're overly sexualized, or you've been sexually abused and you can't connect to your root chakra, right? The roots are everything. Without a healthy root, the rest of the tree dies. The rest of the tree is poisonous. The rest of the tree will never bear the fruit that it could if it were to work on its roots. So it was showing me all this, right? And saying how, wow, like all of these ways that we're being overly stimulated, overly sexualized, and what it's doing to our root chakra, which leads to relationship problems, family problems, work problems, emotional problems, physical problems, spiritual problems. And it was so overwhelmingly powerful. I'll put it this way. I went and hung out with one of my closest girl friends, and she was talking to me about some stuff. We've never shared any of this. But she said something, and I asked her to her face, have you ever been sexually abused? She froze. She said, well, why do you ask? I said, because you have root chakra trauma. And it led into a whole nother conversation. I shared this exact story with another one of my friends, right, over the phone. She has experienced the same thing as far as being sexually abused. And it was like even more, it just started to line up that, hey, I have these tools. I have been healed. I have been connected. I have these insights. I have this wisdom that I want to share with people to help them heal, to connect, and hopefully inspire others to do the same. So it's not only showing me my whole full circle of healing and connection, but where the world is at large and why the world at large suffers with these things like addictions, self-hate, body image issues, fucking people still molesting people, people still fucking raping people, fucking child slavery, things that just get me so angry inside, right? And how we're so dead to it. It's just like a normal thing, right? But the message was so clear. Why I went through all this bullshit as a young child, to a teenager, to a young adult, to a man, to here I am now, more healed and more connected than I've ever been in my entire life. And now I am so grateful. I am so grateful that I have made it out on the other side. I'm not grateful for the experience. That's not what I'm saying. Because if I could go back in time and turn the clock and make sure that it never happened to me and some of my closest loved ones, I would make sure that would never happen. But what I'm saying is I'm grateful that I made it to this point in my life and I've been able to learn, to grow, to cultivate something out of this mess, this evil that this person is, into something beautiful to share with others, to try to help them. So along with the letter, I wanted to just share this video, things that if you're someone who has been sexually abused, study it, right? If you've never spoken out about it, you'll start to see why you are the way that you are. You'll start to see how it affects your brain. You'll start to see things, how it affects and manifests to yourself physically, emotionally, how your emotions affect your body, how your body affects your organs, how like it's all connected. And at the bottom of all that is your spirituality, right? It's not about fear. It's not about shame. It's not about guilt. It's about undoing all of the mess that happens when you are sexually abused or raped, right? So I am very grateful. Now, especially thank you to the ayahuasca ceremonies, because it put things in a perspective on a spiritual level that I can't put into words. It will not do it justice. But I'm not ashamed that I sit in ayahuasca ceremonies. I'm not ashamed that I worked so hard to try to figure myself out. I'm not ashamed that I go to seminars and read these books and go to personal development courses and retreats and ask help from mentors. I'm not ashamed of any of that, because it's got me to here today, to this moment, to me making this video, to me sharing this message, to me going to be able to help inspire and heal other people that have been through my situation, that haven't been as fortunate enough as I have to get to where I am. I have plenty of tools to help other people. I have plenty of knowledge, plenty of insight, plenty of experience. So if you are someone who has been raped, sexually abused, molested, please feel free to reach out to me. And I'll do whatever I can to help you. Parents, teachers, coaches, trainers, I gave you guys a list of things to look for in a person that has been sexually abused. Because there are some personality characteristic traits that are so spot on, that line up to people that are suffering from PTSD or have some type of sexual abuse in their history. They're clear signals. And I put that in the letter for you to read so you can open up your eyes and start to understand what is happening to this person. Because it's a very scary thing, right? To even talk about it. Here I am, 32 years old, and I'm finally just making something about it now. Imagine the kids that are young, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Maybe a teenager, maybe an adult. It's taken me a long time to get to this point. So arm yourselves with the knowledge and the toolkit to spot it out so you can help other people. Thank you for watching. I am really excited to be creating a platform to help people heal physically, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally that have suffered from sexual abuse. Thank you.